Welcome to AirgunWeb.com, your home for honest, real-world airgun reviews and information, where we bring you the facts, not fluff. For today's review, we're going to take a look at the RWS 34P Pro Compact in 177. It ships with an RWS 3-9x40 AO scope and the RWS double lockdown mount. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I'd like to welcome Umarex USA as an official supporter of our channel. They've provided the product for today's review, and I hope will continue to provide more products in the future. And as always, I'd like to take a moment and thank Pyramid Air for sponsoring this review and for their continued support. So now, let's go ahead and take a good close-up look at the RWS 34P Pro Compact in 177.
The RWS 34P Pro Compact has had my attention for a while. When it arrived, the first thing I noticed was the sheer weight of it. Then I noticed how different the balance was compared to my other brake barrel springers. I also noticed the unique finish on this gun, which is more like brushed steel than blued steel. I'm not sure what it is, but I like it, and I like it a lot. The 34P Pro Compact is cradled in an ambidextrous composite stock that really lends itself to hold consistency. I found it very easy to keep the same hold between shots, and this certainly helps in the accuracy department. Our model came equipped with the RWS 3-9x40 AO scope and the RWS double lockdown mount. By now you all know that I don't hold this mount in high regard, and this time around did nothing to change my opinion. I did manage to get the scope strangled to the point that it stopped moving, but not until I was basically sure that any more pressure was going to strip out the screws. The scope itself was not too bad, but needs a mil-dot reticle to be really useful for hunting purposes. The real high point on the rifle is the T06 trigger. You can replace a scope and mount, but swapping out a trigger is a different story. The T06 is vastly improved from the T05 and proves that you can put an excellent trigger in an airgun in the $200 to $300 price range. In the end, our RWS 34P Pro Compact gave us exceptional groups at 10 yards and really excellent groups at 20 yards. As a compact tactical rifle, I'm very, very impressed.
The RWS 34P Pro Compact is basically a compact version of the standard 34 or the 34 Panther. The 34P Pro Compact operates like a traditional brake barrel rifle. To cock and load the gun, you break the barrel and cock it until it locks into place. To load the pellet, you simply insert it nose first into the breech. Now, as a point of note, and I gotta tell you, I've developed some bad habits over the years, so please do as I say and not necessarily as I do. Boy, haven't we heard that all before. But anyway, it's a good practice to restrain the barrel of the gun when loading. While these are made to nearly be foolproof, things can go wrong, and if the barrel were to fly back, it would at the very least damage the gun, and at the worst, well, let's just not go there. To be safe, try and remember to hold the barrel with your non-loading hand when loading the gun. Once the gun is loaded, you'll notice that the automatic safety is engaged. When you're ready to fire, simply push it in and gently squeeze the trigger. It all looks like this. Do that one more time. Cock the gun, hold the barrel, load your pellet, return the barrel, aim the gun, take it off safe, squeeze the trigger, just like that. When first shooting the 34P Pro Compact, you're going to notice that the balance of the rifle is probably very different from all your other non-compact brake barrel guns. It takes a little time, but I adjusted pretty quickly to the change. Effectively, you're going to find that the balance point is more forward than other rifles because of this very heavy muzzle brake. I also found that the contour and ridges of the stock made it very easy to reproduce consistent holds, something very important with spring guns. Now let's talk a little bit about the good, the bad, and, well, the ugly. I'll distill this all down in the summary, but I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about some things that came up when we got this rifle. First, like our RWS 34 Classic, the 34P Pro Compact arrived just dry as a bone. Within a few shots, I was getting that dreaded honk every time I cocked the gun, and that was from a dry piston and compression chamber. I already knew what needed to be done. I just tore it down and rebuilt the rifle with Molly, and boy, what a difference. The second issue that I ran into was the RWS double lockdown mount. Now, this scope design doesn't really allow for much movement because the scope is right at the end of the mount. But I still got movement, and unfortunately, even though I tightened the rings down just as hard as I thought practical, it still moved a little bit. Come to find out, you can tighten them down a little bit more, but I think I'm right on the bleeding edge of just stripping these screws out. I did finally get it to hold still, however. Now let's move on to the scope. It has a nice sight picture, but it lacks mil dots, something that I think is really essential for an airgun scope. Also, the vertical adjustment did not work smoothly. It did not feel like a good quality scope to me. However, it has performed well once I got it zeroed in, so my assessment may just be wrong. In the end, it's not about how it feels, but rather how it performs, and it performed very well at both 10 and 20 yards. So that's the bad and the ugly. Now, how about the good part? I talked to the folks at RWS, and I know that they've already started some inquiries with the factory about the dry compression chamber issue. They were very proactive and really wanted to talk to me about what I found, and I give them high marks for taking my call and hearing my suggestions. I've not always found that kind of cooperation. So to me, this says that they really want to fix the problem, and more importantly, they really care about their customers. They also wanted to remind me that this rifle has a limited lifetime warranty standing behind it. This is something that I had frankly forgotten, and I think is very important to bring up. Had I been a typical end user in this situation, Umarex USA would have made it right without question. With the gun lubed properly and the scope finally locked down, performance and accuracy was far better than I expected from a .177 airgun. Now generally I prefer a .22 caliber, but this gun has almost convinced me to at least be neutral on the matter. The other high point of the RWS 34P Pro Compact is the terrific T06 trigger. With an average pull weight, now this was from the factory mind you, of only 1 pound 2 ounces, there was no blaming the trigger for any errant shots. But we'll get to those shot cards in just a minute. For now, let's look at performance. Umarex USA sent me a variety of sample pellets for this review. I can say that at 10 yards, virtually all other pellets did pretty darn well, with the RWS Superdomes topping the list. At 20 yards, things opened up dramatically with the RWS ammo, but closed down to sub-dime sized groups when I switched to the Beam & Kodiaks. For our velocity test, I started with the RWS Hobbies, which at 7 grains gave us a high of 965 feet per second, a low of 946 feet per second, an average of 956 feet per second, an extreme spread of 19 feet per second, with a standard deviation of only 5 feet per second, and the average energy of 14.23 foot-pounds. Our best close-range pellet, the RWS Superdome, a 8.3 grain pellet, gave us a high of 869 feet per second, a low of 854 feet per second, an average of 862 feet per second, an extreme spread of 15 feet per second, and a standard deviation of only 4 feet per second. The average energy was 13.71 foot-pounds. Lastly, our best pellet at 20 yards was the Beam & Kodiak. It's a 10.2 grain pellet, and it gave us a high of 778 feet per second, a low of 766 feet per second, an average of 772 feet per second, an extreme spread of 12 feet per second, and a standard deviation of only 4 feet per second. The average energy was 13.52 foot-pounds. While this may not be a powerhouse rifle in the Magnum sense, accuracy is really what counts with airgunning, and I was impressed with what we got from our RWS 34P Pro Compact. I shot a lot of different pellets trying to find just the perfect one that will give me the best accuracy. In the end, I found that the RWS branded pellets all did very well, with the RWS Superdomes topping the list, and they gave me a 0.2-inch center-to-center group. When I backed up to 20 yards, things really opened up, so it was back to the rack of pellets. Eventually I found that the Beam & Kodiak, while very heavy, gave me just what I needed. At 20 yards, it gave me a 0.425-inch center-to-center spread. Now for fun, and for you hunters out there, I also shot the Predator Polymags. They didn't do as well as the Beam & Kodiaks, but they certainly would be in the kill zone at 20 yards and gave us a center-to-center group of 0.696 inches. Here are the shot groups. Here's my scorecard for the RWS 34P Pro Compact. Let's start with the cons. RWS seems to still have some issues with guns coming through with a virtually dry compression chamber. I hope this has been resolved by the time of this video, as it tarnishes the reputation of a great gun and also a great company when this type of thing happens. The double lockdown mount and I may just never get along. It does not work well with these big springers, and it ends up in the very least marking up your scope. Lastly, the optics, while functional, felt just a little cheap to me to be on this German-made airgun. Now let's talk about the pros. The 34P Pro Compact comes in at only $268. This is a very competitive price point. The T06 trigger stands its ground amongst more expensive rifles, and it's a huge selling point for me. With the right pellet, this rifle really stays on target and delivers plenty of energy for small game hunting and pest control. Lastly, the look and feel of the gun is very unique, and I now see why so many people are drawn to it. The finish of the gun is also very military looking, adding to the great aesthetics. So let's pull all this together with our final summary. Even with the various shortcomings, the value is still there. The RWS 34P Pro Compact is German-made with an excellent trigger and comes with a limited lifetime warranty for well under $300. It may not reach magnum velocity, but it stays on target, and that's what counts. When I look at other guns in this price category that are not nearly as well made and have terrible triggers, I keep coming back to the RWS 34 family as an excellent choice for new airgunners. I'd like to take a moment and thank the folks at Umarex USA for providing our review product and most of the supplies. And of course, I want to thank Pyramid Air for sponsoring this review and their continued support of this channel. You can find the 34P Pro Compact on their website at www.pyramidair.com. When you're looking for your next airgun or you're looking to fill your next airgun supply order, please visit www.pyramidair.com or give them a call at 888-262-4867. Be sure to let them know that you heard about them here at Airgun Web. When you're looking for honest, real-world airgun reviews, think Airgun Web, where we tell you the facts, not fluff. I'm Rick Utzler with AirgunWeb.com. Thanks again for watching.